Good morning, this is meteorologist Steve Krasnowski with your weather briefing storm scoop update. It's August 4th, 2020, and let's get technical because there's a lot going on with this hurricane. It's a tropical storm once again, but it did make landfall this morning as a hurricane. We talked about the re-strengthening yesterday, but let's just jump in, show what we're working with. This is Tropical Storm Isaias right now. 70 mile per hour winds, gust to 85, north-northeast. That'll be pretty much true for the rest of the day. And it's moving pretty quickly, so no long substantial rain that's just popping through with this. It's a quick mover, but it will leave a deluge of water, let's be honest. So let's move quickly into winds because we're playing with some time here. Tropical storm winds we talked about yesterday, Delmarva. Right about 2 hours from now, you should really be hitting those winds. New York City, Long Island, northern New Jersey, that area will be this afternoon around 2 or 3 o'clock, and then New England will be tonight and into upper Maine and the Canadian Maritimes, or just into Canada rather, Wednesday morning. So these winds definitely could cause some down trees, and definitely expecting some power outages. Especially south of Connecticut, I think is definitely open to a lot of that. So let's just keep that in mind. This is our storm. It's already taking more of a subtropical structure this morning. Watch for this to continue to evolve throughout the day. Strong winds will mix down and the rain shield will evolve. So just keeping an eye on that. This is some of the pieces that are moving here, right? So this is what's helping to steer it. This Bermuda High, here's your window, a lot of divergence. Here's your trough that's also helps steering it. So the venting jet aloft and our digging trough, they produce a tandem high pressure nose. We've been following this for days, so I really think this is a subtropical cyclone at this point. It's pretty evident. And then yesterday we talked a little bit about the 850 millibar chart and the winds aloft. So in the Bahamas, there was always this high pressure that was forming, and it was very strong. So it started to lose that, and the storm started to decay as soon as we hit the East Coast, and it lost its intensity. So it did form itself back together, and the winds got a little bit back together, but the storm's intensity never really increased. So we're back today, but it really, this storm could have been a lot worse. Again, subtropical cyclone, remnants of the tropical cyclone core are here. This is the next step for all of this. You can see all the moving pieces here. And so I'll show this next clip. It's very important. Not this one. So tornadoes. There's a lot to talk about tornadoes. Here's our outlook. 5%. It's normal. It's a pretty big percentage in general. But we're going to have a lot of available activity. A lot of the environment is going to be ripe for tornadic activity. You can see some of the winds here that are starting to blow into. This will help onset some of those storms and make them more inflammatory there. Sorry, we're having trouble with the slide deck today. So, verified tornadoes as of this morning. You can see Virginia's already had 5. I think we had one up near Salisbury as well. So, I would expect this number to increase probably maybe double by the time this is all said and done. So, these cells here, you can see I highlighted them. They have an anchor, then a rapid draw, and they stretch the northward in presentation, right? So this is the upper jet shearing and venting, and it's promoting rotation, and that leads to the tornadoes and the damaging winds. And all these cells, I mean, look at them. They all have the possibility to be tornadic, and that's crazy. It's really something you don't really get to see very often, but at least they're capable of being tornadic. So very damaging wind threat, widespread gusts in the 50s, up to 70s. We spoke about that yesterday. Might be some local areas that exceed that, especially if you see some tornado activity. So yeah, so we want to keep an eye on that. Again, you can see some of those leading cells. It's a very potent storm. So not everyone will see these, but there's a productive element that comes with each one of these cells. And a lot of them are enhanced by what's happening in the 850 millibar layer, where it's being rejuvenated. So without that, this stuff wouldn't be here. Without that rejuvenation in the 850, the transition wouldn't be here. It would just be thunder showers that have decayed. So it's good to see that in weather. It's very old school. You don't see it all the time. Anyway, here you see the heaviest of the precip will be on the left side of this in red, and the highest of the wind shields will be on the right. So the heaviest winds will be on that side. The wind gusts 40 to 60 miles per hour at the surface. We heard a few of those this morning in Chesapeake Bay, a couple areas off the New Jersey coast. But I think Long Island and New England need to keep an eye on that today. Here is the SPC's watch list. There's a risk of tornadoes that may develop through midday. I think this is good until about 11 or 12 a.m. And you can see pretty much the whole tri-state area of New York City, New Jersey, Connecticut are really just in that area that will be ripe. So it'll be important to keep an eye on the weather and make sure that you're listening to all the updates. And here you can see finally, until our two systems join, you can see the vorticity of them both here, right? They're both shared. They're hooks. The coastal system's southeast quadrant wind field will remain storm relative, and then there'll be absorption, which eventually pulls that wind field apart, and then the threat decays. But it's not until it gets to central New England and onwards up north. So still ways to go. Power outages definitely an issue today. You'll see, we'll update this map, but this map's going to go way up, definitely into here for sure. I would see a risk all the way up into maybe even parts of Maine. Wind gusts we talked about. This is from NOAA. I don't have any reason to argue those. And finally, peak storm surge forecast. This is a new graphic from the SPC. It's experimental, as it says, but it's NOAA's been trying to make things a little more easy and understandable for the average person to understand. So this is something they've been playing with. I like it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So I know some people try and do some surfing when these storms come. Don't recommend it. But it's a potent enough storm. The winds will be there. The rain is the bigger sense of things. There'll be some areas that might see 6, 7, 8 inches of rain. It's significant. So anyway, I'm meteorologist Steve Krasnowski. We'll be back tomorrow with another Storm Scoop.